it's been a while since I've had the DJI Mini 2 out. With all this FAA, remote ID stuff going on, I really haven't been focusing on the camera drone that much. But I powered it up and there was a firmware update. And in that firmware update, there were two new features and one that I wasn't even really aware of. So let's take a look.
Take off. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
So how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Big Ball Vlogs. I do reviews, news, everyday vlogging, and every once in a while I'll do a tutorial. If this video is educational or somewhat entertaining, please consider smashing that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel for new videos when I post them. So as I was just saying, I downloaded the latest firmware update for the DJI Mini 2, and there were two new features, and I thought I would just kind of like walk through them and in fact show you how to get one working. So first, feature number one, if you've already got the DJI, oh, almost dropped my control. If you've already got the DJI Mini 2, you know that in the previous firmware update, they gave you ability to do a zoom. I got my screen recording here. So they gave you the ability to do a zoom up to 4x. And you could do that by holding on the screen and then zooming in, zooming out. Allows you to kind of play around with it and maybe even do some dolly zoom effect. So what they've done in this firmware update is they've given you the ability to do a 2x zoom in photo mode. Which allows you to kind of punch in on some things and not get super close to them and, you know, maybe endanger your drone, because now you don't have the obstacle avoidance and could possibly crash into something. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to switch into photo mode, and I'm going to go back. And as you can see, to the left of the shutter button, there is a 1x. Now that is a button. You can hit that button and do a 2x zoom. And you can hit the button again, go back out. You can also use the same feature that you can do with the video mode, which is a progressive zoom by holding down on the function button on the top left of the controller and then using the scroll wheel to scroll in from 1x to 2x progressively. Or you can also tap on that button on the screen and hold your thumb on it for a second and then use that to kind of scroll in and out. Very cool feature. Again, if you want to get a little bit of a punch in without getting super close to something, great way to do it. And it seems to be almost lossless. So I'm going to get something in the background. My favorite little antenna over there, where, you know, I kind of use that as a backdrop sometimes. And we're going to go 2x right now. I'm going to take a photo. And I'm going to go back to 1x and take a photo. And let's see what the difference is. Totally sucky sky out right now. Plus I got an ND filter on it, so it's very dark. I'm not going to do any editing or trying to brighten this up. It's just straight out of the camera. All right, so option number two, or feature number two that you have, is the ability to shoot 60 frames per second, up to 60 frames per second in 2K mode. Now, you're not going to be able to do this if you have the previous version of the, or if you have an outdated version of the DJI Fly app. For Android users like myself, yes, the Android store is extremely slow at updating the APKs, the apps for the DJI drones. Like it'll come out on the Apple or the iOS software. And I used to carry two phones. I used to have an Apple and I used to have an Android, because the Apple software always had the latest greatest firmware, or the latest greatest software. But what DJI has done, which I'm really liking, is the fact that they gave you the ability to download the app APK directly from them versus versus waiting on it to get updated on the App Store for Android. So the way that you do that, if you're not aware, let me go back real quick. And what I want to do is I want to go into, I'm reconnected to my GoPro. I don't want it to reconnect to my GoPro. I'm going to go into, you know, your browser on your phone. You're going to go to DJI.com, and then you're going to hit go, and hopefully I'm going to get a connection here. And then once you're at DJI.com, you're going to just click on those three lines on the left side of the screen, and you're going to go to downloads. In downloads, you're going to go to apps, DJI apps. From DJI apps, of course, you're going to click on DJI Fly, which is for this particular drone, you're going to click on DJI Fly, which is in the top right of the two very first apps. You're going to tap on that, and then this gives you the ability to download the software for either your iOS or your Android. It's version v1.2.2, and you need that in order to be able to use the new feature of filming in 2.7K at 60 frames per second. So I've already done that. I've already got it done. So we're going to go back into I'm going to go back into the DJI Fly app, and I'm going to switch over to the video feature. Now in the video feature, as you can see, I'm already at 2.7K, and it gives me the ability to scroll from 60 frames all the way down to 24 frames per second. I think it was only 30 frames per second before, 30 frames per second in 2.7K and 30 frames per second in 4K. So now you have the ability to shoot up to 60 frames per second in 2.7K, giving you a little bit better image quality. At the expense of a little bit darker videos if you're shooting at night. Usually you want to shoot at a lower frame rate to get a brighter video image, but it gives you the ability to get a higher resolution video so that you can post it to social media, because the encryption on social media and on YouTube crush down that video and compress it down in order to give it, make it fit onto their servers without taking up a lot of space. A lot of us are shooting in now up to 8K, and they don't want to overload their server, so they crush that or they compress that video down, and you get a lower quality image. So keep that in mind if you're shooting YouTube videos and you're shooting, 1080 and you want a better quality video. Shoot it in, 4K, and then when it crushes it down, it'll look like it's, a very crisp, clean 1080 video. So you have that ability now. So if you want to shoot better quality videos in 2.7K, not like me, I don't like shooting in 4K all the time. Sometimes it just takes so long for it to either transfer to the phone or transfer to the computer. I shoot in 1080 the majority of time. But if I want to get some really good video so I can show you the absolute best quality video out of the drone, I'll shoot in 4K. And if I just want to get something in between to kind of give you some, some high quality image coming out of the camera, I'll shoot in 2.7K just to kind of get a balance between the two. Now, last feature, which I didn't even really know about. Let me bring this down real quick. Bring her in. I should have been bringing this down while I was talking. All right.
Landing.
All right, last feature. Didn't know about this, and I know I'm probably way behind on this one because a lot of you guys probably had the DJI Mavic Mini or DJI Mini 1, and you already knew about this. But if you haven't, if you're new like me and you kind of don't read the I guess the manual that you got to download from the DJI website in order to get all of the features and how to control these drones, I did not realize that this little flashing light here on the back was actually a button. So the reason for that button is so that you can connect directly to the drone via Wi-Fi versus having to connect it to the remote control. I don't know how many times I'm like, hey, I got some stuff on this card. I want to download it to the phone at higher quality, even though all of my photos and videos kind of like sync to the phone. They're in lower resolutions. So I want to get the raw, or I want to get the original footage, and I'm like, oh, let me get the control out, let me connect to the drone, let me download it to the phone so I can do something on social media. Well, you don't have to do that. You actually, I'm getting some little splashes here. You actually only have to hold that little button down in the back, and you'll get that little crazy squeaky noise, and you'll see that flashing blue now. And when you do that on your screen, what it's going to happen is it's going to disconnect from the controller if you're connected, and it's going to go into Wi-Fi mode. And as you can see on the screen, it says, hey, DJI Mini 2 connect. So you click the Mini 2 connect. It's going to take a second for it to actually connect to the application via Wi-Fi, by the way. And then when it says successfully connected, it will launch again, and now you're able, and I really did hope that I could fly this drone via Wi-Fi, because I loved the previous DJI drones where I can kind of like fly it via the phone versus having to whip out the controller if I just wanted to putt around in the front yard. But you can't. But what you can do in order to save yourself some time and some, maybe some frustration of having to get all this stuff out and plug it in, is you can go into the album now via Wi-Fi and download your images directly to your phone and create and share without having to do all the connection. And I like that. So again, I'm late on it because I didn't know about it. This is the first mini DJI drone that I've owned. And when I found out about it, I was like, wow, I can use that. Something I can use. Hopefully you can use it. So that's all I had. I just want to walk through those features, two that are new and one that may not be so new. And, kind of say, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'll talk to you later. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I actually did something that I want to tell you guys about. I actually did launch my web store, my online store for FPV. I know I've been focusing a lot on FPV. So I have a web store. It is It is bigballfpv.com. You can also follow me on Facebook via Big Ball Vlogs, YouTube in my group, or you can follow the Big Ball FPV link to the shop on Facebook in order to get, updates on promo codes. Right now, I'm running a promo code of 10% off everything until I kind of get up and running. I don't have much on there right now, but there's enough on there if you're looking for motors and some parts and maybe something to kind of like, get started in the hobby. There's some stuff on there. Please take a look. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.